Trying to make sure I was said right. Hallelujah. Alright, let me check quick. I think this will be good. There we go. Let me take a sip quick. Wait. And I'm just gonna draw like random shapes. So the number one thing I've learned from Quentin Tarantino with characters is that he creates the characters, and once he creates them, he just lets them be themselves. And whenever I heard that, it blew my mind, because whenever I'd have of course I knew what the story was about, and once I was working on the chapter, I was like, okay, so in this chapter this is gonna happen, and then there'd be moments where I would be stuck, and I have no idea what I'd want to do, and I was thinking, well, what if they did this? What if they did that? And there's a lot of moments where I was thinking, so the main character is Sebastian, and I would tell myself, so what would Sebastian do here? What if he said this? What if it was a lot of what ifs, because I always thinking what ifs, and in a lot of the times it just wouldn't make sense, because then I would think, okay, so that's something Sebastian wouldn't say or he do, or maybe he didn't say the right thing. And I realized that I didn't have a good understanding on like Sebastian and what he wanted to do, what were his wants, his needs in the story. So hearing Quentin Tarantino say, just let your characters be themselves, made me realize I didn't know the character that I wanted to create. So step one for me was create a character that I know everything about. So I know what are his fears, what is stuff that makes him laugh, what does he like to watch, what is boring to him, what kind of soup does he like, what kind of drink does he like, what's his favorite movie, his favorite sport, what is the most important thing, what is something he doesn't care about. If he sees a scary movie, like what happens, is he's like just everything, just from the stuff that might seem stupid to the important stuff. And once I realized who was the character that I wanted to make, then I can create the situations. So the chapter starts off with they're in a diner. And then these guys that pull out guns out, and they're like, hey, we want your money and your cards, take it out. So the situation is there's these guys who are trying to rob a diner, and then I get Sebastian and I drop him in there. So once I drop him in there, so now that I know who Sebastian is, how he reacts to things. So once I put him in there, it's okay. So he's come to this point in life where he says, you know what, I'm done. I don't care anymore. Nothing's important. So he's normally this like very happy and goofy guy. But because he realizes that he just doesn't care anymore, he's in a state of mind where it's like nothing matters. So whenever the guy puts a gun to the girl's head, he says, please don't shoot her. And the reason he said that is because he's in the state of mind where nothing matters. Normally he's this goofy guy who's super shy. He doesn't say anything. Like if he were to go to like a burger place and they gave him mustard or they gave him mayo instead of mustard, he wouldn't say anything. He would just enjoy the burger. But because he's in a state of mind where he doesn't care, he's not thinking about what other people think. Because a lot of shy people, they don't speak for themselves, because it's like, well, I might feel comfortable, I might look stupid, they might say something. But because he's in a state of mind where nothing matters, he just says, hey, please don't shoot her. And the reason he says that is because he knows that his life, it doesn't matter. Like, it's of no worth. But her, honestly, anybody, they have more worth than he does. So that's why he says, please don't shoot her. And the reason I came up with that is, like I mentioned, I created this character. I know where he's at in life. So I know, I have a good idea what his response would be. And whenever I'm creating like these different situations and then just dropping the characters I've created in there, I think with a lot of scenarios, I just think of what if. And it's made the whole process a lot more fun. Because in a way, I don't have to overthink about the dialogue, what they do, their actions. Like do they, like whenever something happens, like say the let's say the waiter brings back the wrong food. Like, how do they react? Like, say there's somebody who's super moody, who they're pretty much like a dick, and whenever the waiter brings the wrong order, he's like, no, he's like, hey, come over here, so the character is like, let's say he's pretty much a dick, everything has to be his own way, and I'm drawing boxes. Everything has to be his own way, and let's say that he's in the video games. So he's like, hey, get over here, and he gets his Game Boy. I don't know. He gets the Game Boy. He puts it down. He's like, I asked for mayo. No, I asked for mustard, and it's mayo. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. He's like, okay, cool. He's like, just give me the right sandwich. And then and let's say that he's also cheap. So she tries to get the burger. He said, no. He's like, you already gave my food, so just give me another burger. She says, well, sir, because your order is wrong, I need to go ahead and take it to the back. He says, well, so because he's confident and he's also like an asshole, he's like, no. He's like, you got my order wrong. So if you take this burger in the bag, because I already touched it, you're just gonna throw it away. So he says, just go in the back, give me my burger with mustard, and while you're at it, just throw me a milkshake, just for the inconvenience. And she says, sorry, sir, like it's policy that we I don't know, something about some policy BS or whatever. And he said, and then he goes, that's stupid. He's like, just give me the burger with mustard, and you know what, just screw it, I don't even want the milkshake. And she says, okay, well, let me just go ahead and get my manager. And then the guy, he says, you know what, he looks at his Game Boy and he says, whatever. And he's playing on the Game Boy. She goes over there, talks to the owner, or she brings the owner goes over there, and then the owner says, hey, sorry, sir, you know what, don't worry about it, it's on the house, we'll get you the burger. And he's like, you know what flavor milkshake do you want? He gets and he says milkshake. The guy leaves, whatever. And then the other person that he's with, let's say that she's confident too, but she's not an asshole. Like, she's very kind. And she says, why did you do that? He says, because she messed with my order. That's stupid. Like, I wanted mustard, not mayo. She said, okay, you could have been fine with that. He's like, and she said, you didn't have to ask for the milkshake. He said, whatever. He's like, I got a free milkshake. I pretty much just say $4.29. She says, I could have just bought you the milkshake. He's like, nah, I already said $4.29. And then it kind of just have a bicker because he saved $4.29, which is stupid. So, in that kind of situation, I kind of just like play more with the dialogue and just, of course, the dialogue wasn't that good. I was just thinking about it, just make it more interesting and just have them bicker, kind of like a brother-sister, brother-sister relationship where they bicker and fight, and they start calling each other names and cussing each other. So I like the idea of creating these characters where they instead of just saying this character is gonna be shy, I want to know more about them. They're shy. Not only are they shy, but they also want to challenge themselves to be outspoken. So they're constantly pushing themselves to be outspoken. So whenever they get in conversations and they have to like stand up for themselves, they have like these random bursts of like, hey, stop, you. And it's like this combination of they're shy, but it's like this random burst of energy because they're constantly pushing themselves because they don't want to be shy anymore. They want to be somebody who's outspoken and confident. So they come out as, and some people think they're annoying because they're randomly screaming, but they're not randomly screaming. They're just trying to get, excuse me, they're trying to get their, pretty much what they want out. So if they're trying to get somebody's attention or they're trying to share something, they're constantly having these random spurts of energy, and some people think they're annoying. Most people think they're annoying, but they just don't understand that it's really a shy person just trying to challenge themselves and prove themselves so that way they can enjoy life more, because they feel that they constantly get pushed around because they don't speak for themselves. It's made it a lot more fun. Because once you know who... Because once you know how they are, then all you have to do is create the situation and then just drop them in there. So the more you know about them, the more weird stuff they have about them, the more interesting it gets. Because if you drop a person in a scenario and you're saying they're just a funny person, they're just a confident person, you really don't know how they're going to react. Like if they're at a bank and there's a robbery and all you know is that they're a funny person, you have no idea how they're going to react. But if you know that they're a funny person who always is chewing gum, they're very clumsy, they're very clumsy, and they always carry a book around, and they're a book nerd, and in a way, and they don't like the life they're living, but in a way they want to be a superhero. And say the comic book is Superman, so now you have a good idea on what, now you have a more interesting character, and you can do a lot more stuff with them. So person A, they're just funny. Person B, it's this shy person, they're clumsy, they always have a manga in their hands, and the manga they always have is something with like a superhero, so like Superman or Batman, and they're known as a shy person, but they want to become like their role model, which is like, I don't know, Superman, like their heroes. So now because you know them, who they are, now you have a good idea that what if whenever they break in, the guy is thinking of ways to help the people. He's clumsy too, so it makes it funny. So whenever he tries to talk to the people, he's making noise, a lot of noise. So he's trying to be sneaky, talk to the people. And whenever he's doing that, the burglars are cussing him out. He's like, "Hey, you need to stop," and then they put a gun in his face. And he's still his primary characteristic is that he's still shy and scared and timid. So oh crap, I don't want to sneeze. So he's a very shy person, but he has that inner, I want to be a superhero. I want to help people. I don't want to sneeze. Oh crap. I don't want to sneeze. Oof. I don't sneeze. God dang it. That's why it helps to know your characters inside and out. And I guess I'll just share like random stuff with the characters. So for example, it could be, what are the fairy movies? So let's say the fairy movie is The Grudge. And the reason they like The Grudge is because whenever they were younger, they would always watch it with their older sister on Halloween. And it was like a family tradition. And you kind of go like a rabbit hole, right? Like you can start from one and just go through the rabbit hole. And because they like horror movies, they started picking up a sweet tooth. So now they like chocolate. So now there's association that whenever they eat chocolate, they think about horror movies. And you kind of like dive into it more. So they like horror movies. They like watch their favorite movies, The Grudge. Whenever they think about that, think about the sister. So now you know that. And so favorite movie, the sister. So now let's talk about a little more about like the older sister. So how was she? And let's say the older sister was she looked up to her because she was very straightforward, and she didn't like, and she always, no matter how uncomfortable the situation was, her sister was the kind of person where she would always stand up for the person. So even if it was a little thing, whether it was her own family, or maybe they were in the middle of the street and someone was getting picked on, her sister was very bold. And because of that, that's who this person strives to be. And let's say the person is shy, they're reserved, which it seems like that's how like a lot of protagonists tend to be in manga. Because she's a shy person, she wants to be like her older sister. And so now we're learning some more about her, right? She likes horror movies. Because she likes horror movies, it can also help you figure out a way on how she dresses. So maybe she likes wearing monotone clothes. Warm color clothes. So she wears gray, dark blue, dark gray. She likes wearing shirts that have horror themes, logos. She's shy. She wants to be like her sister, so she wants to go from being shy to being a brave person. She loves watching horror movies. So okay, so now we're getting to dialogue. Like whenever she speaks, she let's say that she's very into horror movies. So whenever she gets in a conversation, she always, for whatever reason, most conversations, she ends up talking about horror movies. So whenever she talks to a friend, or whenever she's at the movie store, or whenever she's at the bookstore, her friends, that's pretty much how she branded herself. And let's not say, let's take a couple steps back. I could just scratch what I just said. So I'm just like sharing examples of like kind of like my thought process. If you think I'm studying right now and I have a lot of disconnected thoughts, that's kind of how my thoughts are whenever I'm brainstorming about characters. Like whenever I think about like Sebastian, who's a male character, or Sophia, I guess like the female or the second or deuter, I forgot what it's called, but like the second protagonist or like the main character, whatever. I'm constantly thinking about different stuff. So that's pretty much like my thought process. And then once I have all this down, like in a Word document, I just connect the dots, the thoughts. I guess dots, but like I connect the dots. And all this just came from watching that video where Tarantino was talking about creating characters where you know them inside and out. So that way, once you create the situation, you let the characters be themselves. And I think it just makes the story a lot more interesting. So it's been a lot of fun working on chapters. There's a lot more I want to do, but I just can't draw that fast. There's a lot more I have to learn with like anatomy and creating the shots and all that. And I've thought about too, just like maybe writing a novel. But I think the best way to draw faster is just to be able to draw shapes. So that's pretty much it. With my manga, I just want to create characters that are pretty much based off of people that I've like just talked with, and just like grab little pieces from different characters, or the characters from different people I've talked to in real life, and just like throw them at different characters, and then add some extra stuff, and just let them be themselves. So hopefully I can just slowly improve, and then just create more chapters. Let the weird people be weird. Let the funny people be funny. That's pretty much it. I just want to share that. That's why with everything I just said, that's why whenever I'm creating these characters, I create a Word document and just write everything down. And then once I have everything down, of course I create a different file for each character. And once I have it down, I just organize it, because my thoughts are very scattered. and it just helps me to be able to create a file. So like a file for Sebastian, and write down everything. What does he like to eat? What does he like to watch? Horror movies. Why does he like watching horror movies? When he watches horror movies, how does he react to different scenes? Whenever there's a horror scene, if there's like a sex scene, if there's like a kissing scene, how is he reacting? Is he staring at the? Does he pause it whenever they kiss because he doesn't have a girlfriend? Does he just let it keep playing? He doesn't think about it. Whenever somebody gets stabbed, does he laugh? Not laugh as like he's crazy, but like, oh crap, like you're stupid. You should have known that there's a killer behind you. Like, does he laugh like, I knew it, I told you? They say, oh crap, like that probably hurt, or holy shit, because she got stabbed in the back of the neck, and he's like, holy crap, does he clench his fist? Like all that stuff, I write it down in the document. And I do that for each of my characters. So once I know who they are and just everything about them, I'll know that whenever I drop them in a certain situation, how they'll act. So I'm still like, of course, there's like certain characters where I kind of got lazy about it. And I'm just trying to get to the habit to where I write every little thing. Because I feel like there's sometimes moments where I'm like, that doesn't matter. But what I've learned from Tarantino and Scorsese and other directors, and Jerry Seinfeld, is that knowing every little thing about your character, can just help a lot with the story. And I'm losing my voice. I sound like a broken machine. I probably do. But that was just a part of the video. I kind of want to share that with characters, just let them be themselves. First, step 1, know who they are. Step 2, drop them. Or step 2, create a situation, a bank, people robbing it. There's a demon, or there's an old lady who's crippled. She's walking. She doesn't seem that powerful at all. It's like whatever. It's an old lady, but she's able to control. She's able to control. She's able to eat people, and whenever she eats people, they become part of her skin. And whenever she fights people, they slowly come out of her, and it's kind of like the thing from Fantastic Four. So they kind of like come out. So that's the situation. You have this lady who she eats people. Whenever she attacks people, they can come out of her, and they can go to the walls and they can come out. And so that's the situation. And then you drop your character in there. How did they react? How did they respond in that situation? Like I said, you gotta be. So step 1, know your character. Step 2, create the situation. And step 3, you drop them in there, and then just let them be themselves. And that's pretty much it. Like that's my process. If it sounds weird to you, then it sounds weird. My bad. But that's pretty much, that's my brain. タナタタタン。
そうです。あとこれだとパッとちょっと飲みに誘われてもこれを持って行ってまあ飲みなさいってちょっとしたい。これまた持ってくる。ちょっとなんか遅れるとか言われた時に3杯したいできるとか思ってやる。
下書きが終了。次はインクでペン入れをします。
いうだけでね、先生は早いタイプでいらっしゃいます。
僕もそこそこ早いって言われます。
すごい。浦沢さんも驚く速さなんですね。今取り組んでいる作品は雪花のコア。東村さんが初めて挑む音楽歴史漫画です。武将上杉謙信が女性だったという説をもとに斬新な切り口で戦国時代を描きます。
このスッて入る線とかそこであれなんですよね、全国の漫画を書いたりとか出したりしている人のね、脳内中枢にね、今ね、信号食ってると思いますよ。書きたいって、衝動をね、
気持ちいい感じ。
素晴らしい。本当にすごいね。
温泉さえ入れちゃって回しちゃえば、最悪何が起こってもまあ本に載ってもいいかなっていう私の考え方ですよ。私子供がいてずっと天才やってきたから熱出したとかやれなんか学校の中で再度とか言ってその気分があったんで、やっぱり落ちないのがやっぱ一番
僕もまあずっと落ちないようにしてきたんで、その考え方がね、それが連載何本でも支えられる。
人物の主要な線を入れ終わったら一旦アシスタントに原稿を回し背景やフォークを指示します。東村さんは次々と人物を描いていきます。
ずっと自分です。
私最初から人権ですね。
ペン先にペンタイつけるの
はい。
がもっと頻繁にみんなつけるってことなんですよ。
私すごい少ないかもしれない。
もう一回つけたらずっと書いてるんですよ。
かなり、ドボって作るか
もっとつけるんですね。シャッと書いたら線が綺麗なんですね。これはもうだってスピードのある線なんですよ。
そうです。望みになってます。
だからその印刷された東村さんの絵を見て相当線速いなと思ったけど、想像以上ですね。
いいね。
東村さんは10年間にわたり月およそ100枚のページを開き続けています。これは驚異的な枚数だそうです。それだけ多くの物語をどうやって生み出しているのでしょうか。ネームと呼ばれるストーリー作りの現場を覗いてみると、
僕も見つけて書いてる。
つけで年代の細かい文章で書いたりとか、ちっちゃい豆コンマで書いたりとか全くなしでつけで。
なんでネームでこんな人が書くの？
確かにちゃんとネームをきっちり入れるんですよ。丸と十文字とかはやっぱ何枚いるんですか？
僕もそうだけど、そんなにちゃんとしてない。僕も書いちゃうと、
はい。
僕書いてバッテリー作るのが俺たちじゃないと思うので、楽しくなくなっちゃうんですよ。
わかります。私も書いててすごい楽しいんですよね。で、この作業やってる時に本当になんだろう、仕事って思ってないです。
そうそう。
あれ、東村さん横になっちゃいました。寝ちゃいました。
なんでですかね。
不思議なぐらいですよね。それで、なんか、半分寝てみてる人がいて、
そうね、夢の中でできます。
おしまいに本気で寝る。寝てて起きるの出てるの。
寝ながらストーリーができる。お二人の作品がそうやって生まれたと思うとびっくりです。
すません、寝れないなと思いながらやってますけど。
達人技なんだね。溢れ出てくるじゃん。
そうですね、なんか悩んだりとかはないですね。
すごいな。流れるよ。
なんか頭の中にもうあるのをただこう板子のように紙に下ろしていってやるだけなので、考えてる感じがあんまりないです。
キャラが紙になんか喋ってるのをただ書いてるって感じで、ああしようこうしようって